Going to do a scene read from The Orphanage, which is available as an ebook, but also it's in 2-bone Anthology 2, out now under my middle grade name of TK Wrathbone, in all good online bookstores. Here we go with the scene read from The Orphanage. Later that night, when the lights were out and everyone was in bed, Alex woke Penny up. "Come on," she whispered in her ear. "Let's go search the office while everyone's asleep." "What? Why?" Penny rubbed her eyes. "Shh," Alex whispered furiously. "Don't wake anyone else up." She grabbed Penny's dressing gown. Penny got out of bed and took her gown from Alex. They tiptoed out of the room and, after looking both ways, moved down the hallway to the stairs. They stopped, for across the open void they saw Adrian and the twins coming from the other side of the building. Quietly, they all descended to the first floor and looked for teachers before moving down to the ground floor. With cold concrete blocks for a floor, they tried not to scuff their slippers and make a sound. Hurriedly, they travelled down the hallway to the office and tried the handle. "Keep a lookout for the super. Levi's not here tonight. I saw him leave earlier on one of his weekends away." Adrian pulled small tools from his dressing gown pocket, then slipped them into the door lock. While with the others keeping an eye out, he managed to open the door and they all piled in. "Shh!" He shushed them and closed and locked the door behind them. "We need his office." They moved toward Levi's door and tried the handle. Locked. Adrian went to work again and managed to open it. In they stepped, and with a flick of the torch, they could see what they were doing. "What are we looking for?" Alex whispered. "And where do we look?" "In secret doors and cupboards. He's not about to have the info lying around with anything else." Adrian whispered back and started looking for hidden latches and cubby holes under the desk. The teens moved books, opened drawers, and looked inside containers, all to no avail. There was a jangle of keys at the main door, and they all froze for a few seconds. "Quick, lights off," Adrian whispered, flicking his torch off and pulling off his slippers. "Under the desk in the main room. Main office." Under the desk in the main office. Back to normal voice. They whipped off their slippers and made it under the secretary's long, large desk, just as the door opened and the light flicked on. Adrian grabbed the gas lift chair to stop it from moving, and they all huddled under the desk, holding their slippers and their breath. The jangle of keys moved to Levi's office and opened the door. Adrian poked his head up and saw the super go into Levi's office and close the door. He waved Alfred and Alistair toward the open door, and they all bolted silently out the door, down the hall and up the stairs to their floor before stopping for breath. I just realised there's a lot of doors in that paragraph. "We'll talk in the morning." "We'll talk in the morning," Adrian whispered, and they all took off for their rooms as the jangle of keys came up the first set of stairs. Now I'm going to do a scene read from one that has an accent. Hansel and Gretel, food critics. So I'll have to go a little slower because I'll end up stumbling over myself. So here we go. Scene read from Hansel and Gretel. While Gretel drank, Hansel scoured the grounds. He wasn't sure where the brook had come from, but decided to see where it led. "Come, Gretel, we shall follow the brook." Oh, this accent's going to kill me. Holding hands, they followed the brook downstream until they came to a small clearing that sparkled so brightly they had to cover their eyes. In the field to their left sat a little house all brightly decorated. Smoke curled up from the chimney, and a white picket fence spread around it. "Whoa," Hansel said. "Let's go see who lives there." "Nine," Gretel pulled back, fear covering her pretty face. "Don't be scared," Hansel pulled her along. "I'm here." They made their way up the path and through the gate, stopping in awe at the sight of the giant brown toadstools in the yard. Step by step they approached the house, noticing the bright colours on the walls. Hansel stopped and pointed to the front wall beside the porch. "Does that look like food? Like sweets from de sweet shop?" He walked over and pushed one. "It's soft." He licked his finger. "It's sweet." He ran his tongue over the soft tubes on the wall. "Yum." Gretel joined him and tasted a sweet. "It's sherbet." "Oh, look, they come off." Hansel pulled several sweets off the wall and stuck them in his mouth. Good. They ploughed their way through half a wall before noticing the hunched-over little old grey-haired lady in her black dress and white apron standing on her porch watching them. Gulp. Hansel jumped back and quickly swallowed the mouthful of candy. "Enjoying my house?" she asked, with a twinkle in her eye. Gretel stared wide-eyed. Gulp. "Yes." "We're sorry." Hansel wiped his mouth. "This is your house? But it is made of candy." Yes, the old woman replied, it is. She stood watching the two children with their long blonde hair and big blue eyes hanging on to each other for grim death. But that does not mean you can eat it. Hansel gulped again. We are sorry. We are hungry. Mama und Papa sent us into the woods to get fruit as we do not have any food. They told us to go further than ever before, and that is how we found the stream. We followed it and found your house. We did not know any Eins lived here in the woods. Trust me to use German. Hunter was feeling just a little bit sick after devouring so many sweets. The old woman studied them. Ja, always Kinder and always starving. She clasped her wrinkled old hands in front of her. Parents always send their starving youngsters into the woods for food. Many end up here. The sun shone down on the little house in the sparkling clearing. Are you still hungry? She licked her lips. I have a huge pot of soup on the fire. You can have some if you like. She waved them in as she walked inside. Hansel, Gretel whispered, I'm not too sure about this. I'm scared. Hansel looked at his sister. It's all right, Gretel. I'll look after you. It's just a little old lady. What harm could she do? And here we go with the scene read from Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. What are you, Silks? Dallas asked, aiming his torch in their faces, making them blink and look away. Think of it. We could get an essay for school out of this, or a book. His head bounced up and down in excitement. Yeah, a book. About how he braved the Dobby house at night and proved it wasn't haunted. You don't get rich off writing a book anymore, Louis said. My aunt barely got anything for her books, and she's published several. Dallas rolled his eyes. Whatever. We'll be famous then. Problem is, nothing has happened, so we'd have to make it all up. Since nothing's happened then, how about we all go home, Zane said, and turned for the door. Chicken, Dallas said, and started clucking. Bok, chicken, bok, bok. Zane turned back. I am not a chicken, Dallas Howard, and if you don't stop calling me one, I'm going to punch you. Dallas stopped for only a moment. Chicken, bok, bok. Zane flew at him with his fist ready to land on Dallas's face, but the others grabbed him, holding him back, and Dallas stumbled back in surprise. Calm down, dude, Louis told Zane as he held onto his arm. Marshone had the other. Dude's not worth it. Yeah, Marshone agreed, looking down at a surprised Dallas who still sat on the floor. Dallas is just being a dick. Ain't you, Dallas? Dallas blinked in surprise. Yeah, just being a dick. He climbed to his feet and brushed himself off. I didn't mean it. Yeah, right. Zane shrugged off the two boys holding him back. Whatever. Dallas picked up his torch and gave it a shake till it blinked back on. Let's check out the basement, then go. We'll have had enough by then. We'd had enough when we got here, Zane muttered under his breath. Dallas led the way out of the attic and back down the stairs to the ground floor. Turning left down the hall, they found the basement door at the back of the staircase. Dallas tried the handle. Stuck. Help, give us a push. He started shoving it with his shoulder. Give us a hand. Jet and Louis stood either side of him, and all three put their weight into shoving their shoulders against the door. It's coming, Dallas muttered under the strain. The door grated. It's coming, he repeated before the door flew open and he went tumbling down the stairs. Oh, God, thud. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, Zane muttered dryly. The others grinned and turned their lights on the stairs. Dallas lay at the bottom. Oh, come and help, he called up to them as he lay sprawled across the floor at the bottom of the steps. They slowly made their way down and gave him a hand up. Oh, I don't think anything is broken, he said, wobbling on his feet before brushing himself off. Pity, Zane said as he walked past. There were some scene reads from The Orphanage, Hansel and Gretel, Food Critics, and Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Also available as ebooks, but in 2-bone Anthology 2, under my middle grade name of TK Wrathbone.